Hey, you guys.
Hello, how are you? Lovely to
Good,
see you
thanks.
again. I'm doing Spock greetings
I
rather
can't
than
do that, especially
shaking
with this
hands.
ring. I've got a ring that is sort of two together.
You could do it then.
I can't. I've never been able to do that.
Never mind. Congratulations on the film. I can imagine many reasons for you to want to get involved, but what was it about your character and the real woman behind it that kind of inspired you to want to be involved?
Well, initially I sort of thought, oh, Miss World, that sounds a bit, I don't know if that's going to have much meat to it, you know. And then when I read the script, I just thought it was so witty and joyful, but also had such a spirited message behind it. And I loved the fact that it showed all these different perspectives of the contest. The fact it was a true story, that this really happened, the women's liberation movement really stormed the ceremony the same year that the first women of colour won. I just thought it had so many contemporary resonances to what we've been dealing with our culture, and it was just so joyful and fun. I just loved it.
Yeah, we just spoke to your director and she was saying about how important it was for her as a grandmother and a mother that the generations below her don't know too much about these movements and these amazing women. And I was just wondering from you as an actress how important that was to give that message to younger generations who don't really know too much about both of these different things, if you like.
Yeah, I'd never seen Miss World before I watched the 1970 recording, and you know, I think sometimes it's easy to forget or feel like, you know, things like Me Too and Time's Up, they're new movements, but actually there's such a legacy there, and I think it's comforting also to look back and, you know, look at the women that have fought the fight for a previous generation, and you know, to see how far we've come. Obviously there's still a lot of work to do for equality for women, but I think a film like this hopefully will inspire us to know what's possible, you know, and yeah, and I love the fact that in the film there's all different generations. You know, you see Keira's character and her mum's point of view on it, and then the little girl, and you know, the beauty queens and the women's liberation movement. They're not really pitted against each other, they're not against each other, they're against the patriarchy, and I think you know, the system itself, and I think hopefully women will be inspired to continue working on that.
Yeah. And just as a final question, obviously I know you've just started on the Loki TV show, which you can't tell us anything about. I always try with these Marvel things. No one ever says anything. But have you got your brain into the headspace of the kind of feverish fandom that comes with it, and that people online are now already predicting which characters you might be playing? Have you kind of come to terms with that yet, or are you still fresh to it?
At this point, I'm just focusing on the work. You know, I can't pay too much attention to that because we haven't even finished it. You know, we're still in the middle of it. So I sort of stay in my bubble.
We'll look forward to seeing you in it. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey, you guys!